All right, welcome back to the RetroCult Podcast. I am your host, Chuck. That is your host, Mack. Mack, what happened this week, man?
No, it was just a good week at work. We're getting ready. We've got a project going on. We're getting ready for a big deployment in the next week, and so I've been actually just working a lot. But I had some fun things that did happen this week. Before the show, I was telling you. At our local theater, as part of Flashback Cinema, was showing Batman from 1989 this weekend. And so Laura and I were able to slip out yesterday afternoon and go to the movies. And I saw Batman on the big screen for the first time in, I think I figured it out, 37 years.
Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so I have probably seen that movie hundreds of times since I first saw it in the theater. What were some things that stuck out to you being able to see it on the big screen again?
That was the thing. I just want to start first to say, if I ever had any doubt, Jack Nicholson is the best Joker ever. I know there's always the thing about is, between Heath Ledger and him. I'm sorry, he had all the best lines in that movie. His Joker is, I mean, even when he's just Jack Napier before he
Yeah.
becomes the Joker, he is just captivating. The I had a lot of thoughts about the movie, things that I hadn't really thought of before. I mean, I remember the summer of '89 when the movie came out. Loved Batman already. I had already been excited for over a year because they'd been talking about this in Starlog magazine and everything
Yep.
for a long time before the movie ever came out. And for any of our listeners, I'm sure a lot of our listeners may not know, there was a time before the internet when you actually you didn't know everything about every movie before it came out. And I kind of miss those days. But I do remember we like Starlog. I read Starlog magazine regularly. There were some other, the comic, DC was kind of putting stuff slowly out there that this movie was coming. Uh, but I remember when that movie came out, and I just loved it. I think I went to see it. I easily saw it 5 times in the theater. I think I probably saw it more than that. I remember the girl I was dating at the time uh, finally put her foot down and said, "No, let's go see another movie."
And
So
then that's why she's a
yeah,
former girlfriend.
you're right, and that's why she's a former girlfriend.
So
Um,
I was just like, I just kind of had to jump ahead of my notes. Obviously Nicholson was fantastic, and I agree with you. I'm probably biased because that's my Batman. That's like arguing over who the best doctor is. When you grew up is when you grew up. He's the best. He is the best Joker. But like in looking into this, knowing that Tim Curry was in talks to play the Joker had me very interested. But then John Lithgow actually had the job
I
and
I have
and
I
turned
have
it and called Curry and said, I can't do it. And he's
yeah.
regretted it ever since.
I remember I actually saw something recently in an interview with him from years ago, I think, where he was saying that yeah, that Tim Burton wanted him to be the Joker, and he literally did everything he could to get out of to get out of the job. And one of the reasons he gave in the interview, he was like, "Who's going to be interested in a movie about Batman?"
Yeah. I don't remember the name of the movie. Oh my goodness. There's a movie where he is a bad guy, John Lithgow, and he is
That's the thing
Denzel
with John
Washington.
Lith.
He's
Uh,
so good. So good as a
Denzel
bad
Washington.
guy.
I don't remember. I remember he was in Cliffhanger with
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone, right? Then, of course, if you've ever watched the Dexter the Dexter show on Showtime, the season where John Lithgow is the Trinity Killer, he is just a straight up chilling villain, and that's what I love about Lithgow is his range is so wide. He can play nice guy, family guys like Harry and the Hendersons. He can play just psychopathic villains. and he can play hilarious characters. Like one of my favorite sitcoms still to this day is Third Rock from the Sun,
Yeah.
where and that is such a funny sitcom. But but no, it would have been interesting. That'd be an interesting reality if we could cross realities to see the reality where John Lithgow played the Joker in 1989. One thing I want to say is I love Heath Ledger's Joker. Don't get me wrong. I like Nolan's Batman trilogy for the most part. I will say that those movies hit their high point with The Dark Knight. Uh, Batman Begins was a good movie. Very obviously inspired by Batman Year One. Uh, the Dark Knight was great. The Dark Knight Rises, it's okay. I mean, it's not my favorite. Um, I think The Dark Knight is definitely the best one. Heath Ledger's Joker was definitely the high point of it. The thing I always criticize about that movie is that the Joker literally overshadowed Batman the entire movie.
Oh,
Like
easily.
it's really the Joker. They should have called that movie that should have been the Joker, because that's what that movie. Whereas in Batman '89, for as funny as Nicholson is, for as scary as he is, for he has some of the best lines. He has all the best lines in the movie, but he never overshadows Keaton's Batman. Keaton did a great job as Batman. And, Batman actually, one criticism I hear a lot about Batman movies as they've gone on is he's basically, it's very much leaning on he's the action hero, not he's not really solving crimes and stuff like that. Whereas, but if you really get into it, Keaton Batman, I mean, he figured out the whole poisoning angle
Yep.
where other people kind of were onto what it might be, but they were wrong. And I mean, that's a great thing. His character has a wide range, and even though Nicholson, as the Joker should be, is flamboyant and loud and all that. Michael Keaton just played that stoic man of few words Batman, and and he was never overshadowed by the Joker. They actually merged. They actually worked so well together.
They did, and I know that Keaton was not the number one choice. There was a lot of backlash when they first
Yeah,
were
I
thinking
they
about that.
mentioned that there was a little short bit right before the movie where the gentleman who's in charge of the whole flashback cinema, he gives you kind of a recap of like the making of the movie and all that, and he actually mentions that Michael Keaton up until that point was known mainly as a comedic actor, and there was a lot of backlash, like a letter writing campaign. And I leaned over and told Laura, I said, "Thank God the internet didn't exist then,
Oh, it would have been
because
bad.
the internet would have melted down
I
over that."
mean, if they got 50,000 letters,
Yes.
um, that's a lot. The internet would have been that would
Oh,
have
you'd
been
have had,
wild.
yeah, yeah. It would have been like today when anything is
Yeah,
announced that there are it's just a lot of, and I think in retrospect, clearly he was a good choice. He
he
was a
was.
good choice for it. Um, I love his Batman. I love Batman Returns. I would argue Batman Returns. I remember that movie got a lot of criticism at the time because a lot of parents groups were like, "Oh, this movie is way too dark to be aimed at kids," because they were doing a McDonald's tie-in and everything. But I'll be honest, go watch those movies. Th- I would argue Batman is a much darker movie. I mean, the Joker has a pretty good body count in
Oh yeah,
in that movie, and whereas the Penguin, especially near the end, the whole riding the giant duck down through the sewers. I mean, that's very campy. I'm like, that's way campier than anything.
oh,
And
I
but I
think
mean,
they leaned so far from the '60s Batman in '89. As far as you possibly could.
they tried, but I'll be arguing watching it now as a 57-year-old instead of a 20-year-old. There's a lot of camp in this movie too, especially around the Joker. I mean, it just all ends kind of dark, and again, his Joker. I came out of the movie. I've seen Batman. I mean, I own it on Blu-ray. I watch it from time to time. So it's not like something I haven't seen for 37 years. I've just never seen it on the big screen in that time. And I will say, seeing it on in the movie theater again just reinforced. I walked out of there going, yeah, that's my favorite Batman movie. Yes, that was, I was 20 when that came out, so I've got the rose colored glasses on, but it's actually a really pretty solid story. It works well. One thing I will say is I never really thought about this till I watched it this time is the pacing on this movie is like breakneck. Like honestly, if you just go by the events shown on the screen, it seems like this movie takes place over 3 days.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
literally,
yeah, yeah,
literally he becomes like, cuz you just have to kind of assume as the audience there is time in between these. Like
yeah,
he didn't just crawl out of the vat, immediately go to the doctor, and he's now the Joker. There's clearly time, but and I will say that's something from back in the day, old movie making techniques that maybe we've kind of lost now is they feel like they need to explain everything to the audience right now. Whereas I think like when Tim Burton was making this movie, he's like, the audience is smart enough to know this is not happening in a 72-hour period,
yeah.
you
The
know?
one thing that I liked, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, is were the tops cards because I loved. I mean, obviously you had scenes from the movies. It was almost like you could relive the movie in your head as you saw all the scenes played on the cards. When you could flip the card over and get a little bit more of a detailed description
Hmm.
of what was going on in that, and that's not something that you get a whole lot of anymore. I don't know the
No,
last
yeah,
time they
I would
made
argue
movie cards.
the death of movie tie-in trading cards is one of my greatest disappointments
Agreed.
nowadays. Is like I would love, why aren't there, and I mean if you ask the companies, they would just argue they don't sell, I guess. I
They do
mean
sell
there's
because
just,
they still make so many cards, and I think honestly, I'm almost glad they don't because there are so many like Marvel and DC card sets out now. But who can afford $300 and $400 boxes of cards? They're not aimed at
yeah, that's
kids
true.
anymore, and it's
They
not
need to be
fair.
affordable again. That's what I want. I want something that you buy at a convenience store
Yeah,
for 50 cents a
just
pack.
crappy cardboard cards with. I mean, they have to be fairly cheap to make.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, I
leave the
don't
gum
care,
out. I don't care.
inflation or not, they're not that expensive. I mean, to
No.
be honest, I guarantee you the most money they're spending on those is the rights to license it in the first place, and
Yeah.
that's the problem. The companies that own these properties, like Warner Brothers or Paramount or whoever owns DC now, I mean, who even can tell? I can't even keep up with it anymore. Or Disney that owns Marvel, they are squeezing every dime out of every licensing agreement to the point to where stuff's just not even affordable anymore. That's why, Laura loves Lego. We buy very few Star Wars Lego sets because you know why? Because they're always $30 to $50 more expensive than a non-licensed Lego set. And you know what? That's just Disney's money. That's just
Yeah.
Disney's money. And now Hasbro, we were at Target yesterday after the movie. I was taking a look to see if the Mattel DC figures had dropped. Our Target, anyway, didn't have them. They're supposed to have dropped this weekend. But our Target's in the middle of a remodel. They've actually they've expanded the store. It's becoming one of those full grocery store
Okay.
Targets. So they're actually in the middle of a remodel. So I really wasn't surprised. I need to go to a bigger Target that's not like the one in Kernersville or the one on uh, Haynes Mall Road or
Okay.
something, just to see if they might have dropped yesterday. Because I'd love to see them. They did have the 5-inch Masters of the Universe figures, which was neat to see those in person.
Yeah.
And they were $9.99, great
Oh,
price.
it's
And
great
I'm gonna
pricing.
I'm gonna tell you, they look fantastic. I was tempted to buy the Skeletor figure till Laura smacked it out of my
I
hands and was like,
haven't seen the
you don't
Skeletor. I've seen
collect
some of the others.
Masters of the Universe stuff." And I was like, you're right, you're right, you know. But so after I picked it up off the floor from where she'd smacked it out of my hand, I put it back on the shelf. No, she didn't do any of that. But anyway, she's sitting in, I'm doing that for her benefit. She's sitting in the same room with me right now. But those figures look amazing. And I'm like, okay, if the DCs look this good, oh yeah, I'm on board, especially for $9.99.
Yeah, that's the one. I know there's the others, like the more quote unquote premium, and
They did
I
have one of those. They had the
yeah,
Skeletor of that one too, but even those are not badly priced.
no, they're
They're
not
like
terrible.
$14,
Yeah.
$15. Yeah.
But I like the fact that they're putting some toys out there that are meant to be ripped off the package and played with by kids
Mhm.
after they go to see this movie. And I'm, I watched Pixel Dan's review
Oh yeah.
of the
That's where I
He-Man
saw
movie.
them first. Yeah.
Yes, and
Oh,
he's,
wait a minute. He reviewed the movie. Is that what you're talking
he
about?
did review. He got to go to the premiere, like a red carpet premiere or purple carpet. It's
I
actually
haven't watched
Skeletor red
that.
carpet.
What did he say? How was it?
He likes it. He said there's some things in there that are a little too much for him every once in a while. He said that the self-awareness of the cheesiness of
Uh,
their names got old after a while. But other than that, he said if you love the cartoon, this movie's for you.
that's what I'm afraid that they're going to do, that they always end up doing with movies like this is I think it's the Disney Marvelification of movies, if
It's all
that's
Guardians of the
excuse that
Galaxy's
word.
fault, man.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy's fault, which when you get down to it means it's James Gunn's fault. And I would argue
I
that
can't,
that
can't
is
get mad at
true.
him though.
Huh?
I can't get too mad at Gunn though. He's done some good
I don't
stuff.
know. I can I can. I'll do it for you.
All right.
I mean he's okay, but I mean Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, here's my biggest complaint. I don't want to get off on a James Gunn tangent. I'm just going to say every movie James Gunn does is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
That's
I
the only
understand
movie
that.
he apparently knows how to make is
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Because as much as I enjoyed the Superman movie last summer, it was Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a team coming together, doing blah blah blah. Um, Peacemaker is just Guardians of the Galaxy with a lot more cussing, and and then of course he did three Guardians of the Galaxies movie, which I haven't even seen the third one because the animal cruelty stuff at the part I really probably couldn't deal with that, and a lot of
That's a
people
tough
told
one,
me if
man.
you don't like that, that's tough to deal with.
That's a tough
So
one to watch.
that's tough. So I felt fine skipping that. I liked Guardians 2 okay, but again, it almost became too self-aware at, during the course of the movie. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel a lot of these movies like. I would love for them to have done the He-Man movie and just play it straight. These are their names, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, man at arms, that's your name. That's
Yep.
your name in this world. I'm fine with that. We don't have to all have a little giggle about it.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I mean, that's definitely one of those cartoons I ran home to
I
watch.
will say I did see the second trailer and enjoyed it much better. I felt like they showed a lot more of Eternia, the kind of action that I
Yeah,
like.
I've not
Like
watched any of it. I've skipped it all just to
okay.
be safe.
Well, I saw the very first trailer and I kept like when we went to see Project Hail Mary, that played the first trailer played before the movie. And Logan and I both had the same reaction. We were both like, I felt like it was building to make me excited, and it just never got me over the top. Just never, there was never that moment where you're like, yeah. It felt like it wanted to build to that. And I think the second trailer has more of that. I mean, it does have more. But again, I'm not as big a Masters. I really wasn't into Masters of the Universe as a kid. So this doesn't have the nostalgic hit for me, probably that it does for you, because
Yeah, it's pretty
you
huge for
loved
me, man.
Masters of the
I
Universe.
mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to see, but like just right over here is that whole cabinet. of
Yes.
nothing but He-Man stuff. So,
I was
um,
excited to see that um, besides the for the movie that they're not just doing the 5 inch. Are they 4 or 5 inch? I don't know exactly. Uh, then the more premium figure, I think, is maybe 6 inches. It might be
yeah,
6 inches tall. Comes in a box instead of on a blister card.
yeah.
It looks really nice too. Like I said, I only saw one of those. They had Skeletor. He was the only one, and he looked great. But I was excited to see that they are doing the movie Masters of the Universe figures that are in the same type of figure as the originals. It's
See,
the
that I haven't seen. I'm ready to see those.
Target had them.
Okay. All
The
right.
one near my house, they actually had He-Man and Tila, I think. I don't remember Skeletor. Um, but they had a few, and they're on the cards just like the old school original ones.
Yeah,
And they look great. And I was
that's
like, I'm
awesome.
glad they're doing that, because that would be that's definitely, if I was a Masters of the Universe collector like you, and I've got the original He-Man and maybe the replay He-Mans and stuff like that, I would definitely want a He-Man from this movie in that same format of figure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, speaking of the toys, with Batman, you had the whole Toy Biz Kenner, and then it went to Toy Biz, and then they didn't like those, and then Kenner came back and like remade more
Yeah,
toys.
yeah. Kenner, of course, had done the Superpowers figures earlier in the '80s, but
So they
that
just
license,
recast those.
well, that
Like,
license ended in like '88, and then of
yeah,
course the movie came out in '89. And yeah, you're right. The first figures they did were they did Batman, Joker, and Bob the Goon from Playmates.
yep,
I was so disappointed in those figures because they're clearly knockoffs of the Kenner sculpt, just not as good. They're just
yeah,
not as good. And so Playmates had that license for only 1 year, because then in 1990, Kenner got the license back and they released the Dark Knight collection, and in which they re-released a Batman in the complete black suit,
yep,
but it was literally just a repaint of the Superpowers Batman figure. It was completely just the same figure, just a repaint. I do think they changed the shin guards so that they look like the ones in the movie. But I still say, when those came out, I was so excited and got that. And I was happy to have a repaint, because the Superpowers Batman figure is still a great Batman figure. That's
yeah,
just a classic. And then, of course, they did their own version of I can't remember. I should have researched it before we talked tonight. I don't think Kenner did a version of the '89 Batmobile. Like,
no,
they
I don't
came
think
out with
so.
some other vehicles, but they
Yeah,
weren't necessarily tied to the movie. Although they were definitely, the Dark Knight collection was definitely for the movie, because Michael Keaton's Batman face was on
yes,
the package.
yeah,
So, but those were, I loved those figures. And then of course Kenner, in its later years, fell into this trap. They did it with the Batman the animated series stuff that they did too, where they just cranked out a million versions of Batman,
yeah,
like Tiger Stripe Batman. The one really cool one for that they did for the Dark Knight collection that I had and loved was they did have a quick change Bruce Wayne. So and
yeah,
the head sculpt looked like Michael Keaton. It was
very good.
great, and it just had snap-on pieces to turn him into Batman. And funny little comic book aside on that one. Um, because he's wearing like a black turtleneck and black, it's like he's wearing a black bodysuit,
Yes,
except for whatever reason there's like a line running across it and it becomes like a squiggle, almost like an EKG or something. I don't know what they were going, if they were going for a bat design or something. But what's funny is there's a issue, I believe it was during Zero Hour, the big Zero Hour crossover in the 90s, where they literally there's actually a Batman, because this is involving all of these different versions of the characters. It's kind of another crisis, not a crisis on Infinite Earths, but it was kind of like where they were reflating the multiverse after having deflated it in Crisis. Um, but there is a background Batman where you see Bruce Wayne wearing that Kenner quick change
That's awesome.
outfit that's kind
Yeah.
of neat. But yeah, I remember. I mean, that was just Batman was just such a phenomenon that whole year. Like
Yeah.
T-shirts were everywhere. You'd see, yeah. I mean, it just went nuts.
So with the three original action figures, like obviously you understand Batman and the Joker, but then you have Bob the Goon, who is only in the movie because he's Jack Nicholson's best friend, and
Yeah,
that
or
was
he's his like bodyguard. Yeah, yeah.
no, I mean like in real life.
Oh, I
Like
had no clue. Oh, I
no,
didn't
no,
know that.
no,
Are
he
you
is like
serious?
no, he's like one of Nicholson's best friends, and part of his deals was you will put my friend in this movie.
I
And
had
so
no clue
yeah,
about that.
yeah, so yeah, and so and he took way less money as far as like his upfront payment and
They
was
talk
taking
about that, but he
and,
took receipts
yes.
instead.
And so he may have made upwards of like 90 to $100 million off of this
No, they
movie
said
because of
$50 million
50.
in the thing,
I've
which
read
at the
50.
in '89,
Yes, that's a
that's a
lot of
ton of
money, but that was what his like normal cut would have been. So
his
like
norm
there
his normal fee. They said in the thing before the movie, they said that he normally got paid 10 million a movie,
yes.
and he took less in
Yes.
exchange for receipts.
Yeah, I was
And
watching something and they said that, the 50 million, but they were saying that there are some people that say that it could have been even more
and
than
it
that.
may it
So,
could
but
be, and who knows, he might even still get
he
royalties
may.
from sales of the
But
like
imagine being
showing it
that
in the
guy.
theaters right now.
I'm sure they all
I'm
got paid
sure
for
that
that.
counts. Yeah.
I can't. It's just wild to be like, hey man, like I've got you a part in this movie, and I mean, it's not like Bob is this background character either. I mean, he's pretty important.
I
Uh,
loved Bob, and
oh,
all
I
the
do
way
too.
up until his death. And his death was, again, that was what I loved about Nicholson's Joker, is he's unpredictable, which
Absolutely.
does make you wonder, why would you ever, like, if you're a goon, why do you want to work for this guy?
I'm sure he paid
He's
great.
gonna kill you at some point.
I'd say those people were probably partly crazy too. So
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know. It's
yeah.
just it was just so wild. And I remember you not only would you go into the store and you could buy like the packs of cards right beside that box of Batman cards with like the little bitty heads of the
Oh,
Joker and Batman
oh,
filled
and
with candy.
yeah. Well,
And then the Batman cereal.
we've bemoaned this many times. The Batman cereal with the bank
Yeah.
shrink wrap to it,
Yep.
and I still kick myself because we didn't buy it that last August at Totally Awesome Comics in
Yeah.
Mevin. He had one still shrink wrapped for $15. I think too.
It wasn't
It
bad.
wasn't
It wasn't a
much,
lot.
and
Yeah.
I didn't buy that because we had just been to a Comic-Con. I was like, I'm kind of tapped out.
Yeah.
I should have dug deep and bought that, because then, of course, now it's gone. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Did you buy any? I know that you're not a huge diecast person, but you're a little bit more than I am. Did you buy any of the Ertl diecasts from the
I bought
movie?
the Ertl diecast Batmobile.
Okay.
I actually still have. Logan actually gave this to me for my birthday a few years ago. He found the Ertl 3-pack that has the
Oh,
Batmobile, the Batwing, and Joker's van,
that Batwing was
which
kind of
is
huge.
never in the movie. The Joker van is never in the movie, but
Yeah.
it is there. And they're the mini ones. They're like micro
Ah, okay.
machine kind of style.
Yep.
It's a 3-pack. But I did have the diecast Batmobile, and I had the diecast Batwing, because I
Yeah.
loved the Batwing. That's still one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I I did a little fist pump in the theater when the Batwing, after he's gotten rid of the balloons and he's
Yep.
getting ready to do his Death Star trench run on Gotham City, and he flies up into the clouds and goes right in front of the moon before falling back down.
Yeah.
That I have always loved that scene. Yeah, cheesy fan service. Give me more. That was great.
So, were you upset at all with the way that the bat emblem on his chest was not
It
like
was
the
not the
original?
comic book Batman.
Yes.
I no, I loved it. I actually thought the fork tail. I think a lot of people call it the fork tail bat because it has three prongs on the tail of the bat,
Yes.
and I actually dig that. And of course, when what was odd is that all the marketing for the movie just has the
The
traditional
tube.
bat
Yeah.
symbol that everyone recognizes, but then he doesn't have that on his chest. I
Was
was
that a
actually
licensing deal or I
I
should have
have
looked that up more.
I don't I have no clue why they did it that way, but I you know what? That's a good question. I don't know why they decided to go with that. I'm sure, to be honest, I bet it was just a design choice. They're like, we want to be different.
I mean, the
Um,
suit was already different as it was. So,
right, yeah, because he's all black, not blue and gray like Batman was at the
yeah.
time. He didn't have the trunks,
Which I
because
think would have I think the blue and gray would have looked awful.
it would have looked bad at the time. At
Yes.
that time. Now, that being said, with technology and special effects now, I want a blue and gray Batman with the white eyes. And Deadpool Wolverine has already shown us we can
You can
have that.
definitely do that.
We
Yeah.
can have that. Wolverine, when he pulls that mask down,
Yeah.
that is the high point of that movie for me. I love that.
Yeah.
I literally remember when we went to see that movie, when they come walking out and are about to face off against all the variant Deadpools, when he starts reaching back, I leaned over to Logan and I said, "Is he going to do it? Is he going?" And sure enough, he pulls the cowl over, and it looked amazing. And honestly, the first thought I thought about watching that was, okay, we can do Batman now that way too.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
There's no reason not to. I
Yeah.
want to see a Batman with the white eyes, and especially with Deadpool and his white eyes, and they've done it with Spider-Man. Um, you can even get emotion, like
Yeah.
having the eyes can still move and stuff, and that gives you that emotion. So no reason not to do it. Come on, James Gunn, you'll redeem yourself in my eyes for anything that I complained about if you'll give me a blue and gray Batman in the cowl. Uh, I will say we did see some interesting previews before Batman that I want to comment on. Didn't
Sure.
see a master. They didn't give us a Masters of the Universe, so I was shocked because I was sure we were going to see a Masters, the new Masters of the Universe trailer, but we didn't. We saw the trailer for Supergirl. Gotta say, kind of intrigued by that movie. I there's I've there's been some back and forth on YouTube and the internet as to and the actress has said what I consider to be some dumb things in interviews, but I'll let that go. The trailer did what a trailer should do. Is I'm kind of interested in seeing that movie now, and I really had not been that interested in the Supergirl, because my question was, why are you doing a Supergirl movie the year after Superman? Why wouldn't you do a different DC character? I
Well,
mean,
the
to keep
doing a
building that
Supergirl movie
universe.
did not work the first time.
And it didn't work the first time. Although you could argue it did work as a TV show, at least for a few seasons, because I enjoyed the Supergirl TV show on the CW for the first few seasons. But anyway, I it intrigued me. The movie I got really excited about. They showed the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie, uh, Brand New Day, I think,
Yeah.
or One More Day. I'll have to look that up. The new Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
I gotta say, I'm excited. Yeah, I'd seen that trailer before, but it was cool seeing it on the big screen. I especially love the little montage in the middle of the trailer where they're literally recreating famous Spider-Man covers.
Oh, and there's a lot of it that's like straight out of the cartoon.
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
like there's clearly the one where he's swinging, holding the guy under his arm.
yep.
That's Amazing Fantasy 15. There's the scene where he's fighting the tarantula, and tarantula's claw is digging into the wall, and that's Spectacular Spider-Man. Number is it number one? I don't remember if that's number one, but it's a Spectacular Spider-Man cover. Um, there's the yeah, there were just so many cover homages in that trailer, and I'm like, I don't even care if they're not in the movie. It was cool to see them
Yeah,
because I'm figuring. I mean, because every one of those montages that has a villain in it, it's a different villain. I'm like, well, I hope they're not going to shoehorn all those villains. So I'm kind of wondering if you're going to get that in the movie as a flashback to
it's
just what's
probably
been going on since the
yeah.
last Spider-Man movie, and I'm
It'll
fine with that.
probably it's probably just a quick update of what's been going on
Yeah. Yeah.
as you go through. But no, that I mean, obviously, I'm excited to see that movie.
Yeah,
I watched
I wanna see that one.
I watched The Punisher because I was told you kind of had to watch The Punisher, the very last one that just came out on Disney before you see that because it apparently is important. So, and I have no idea how that's other than
Well, I
he's
guess that would explain how they know each other, because clearly in the trailer, Spider-Man even calls him Frank.
yeah I that didn't really show up in the TV show.
Okay.
But I mean, other than him just basically saying, "Okay, I'm back to being the Punisher,"
Yeah.
other than that, I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, that should be good. I hope they do that well, um, and that should lead us into the next Marvel movie, right?
I have no clue what the state of the MCU is right now. I mean, other than I guess the next big movie is Doomsday, so
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, I could
I
see
don't know if there's gonna be a tie-in. I would assume
there
there's
has to
gonna be
be.
an after credit scene or mid credit scene that's gonna have tie it in to Doomsday.
Yeah.
I will say, have you? This is keeping on that trail of Marvel movies. Have you heard or have you watched Spider Noir on Prime?
So I made the mistake of trying to watch it after a long day, and I fell asleep. But I loved it. What I did see of it
Yeah, I
before
want to
I
watch.
fell asleep.
I've heard good things. I watched like a preview. They had like a preview, not a trailer, but where you could watch so many minutes of the show
Yeah,
or the. Is it a movie or a show? I'm not
it's
even
a
clear.
TV show.
It's a TV show. Okay,
Yeah,
so there are episodes. Okay,
yeah,
so but anyway, I watched this thing where it's like a 2 minute long, and he's taking down these thugs to have a
yeah,
talk with the big boss,
yeah.
Silvermane, and it looked great. It looked great, and I'm definitely gonna be watching it in black and white.
I mean, I'm gonna do both. I'll watch it in black and white, which is what we started to watch it to begin with.
Hmm.
And it was great. And like I said, Werewolf by Night is a must watch for me at Halloween now. And I usually watch it in black and white and in color, and I like both of them. And I don't know that I like one more than the other. Although that black and white is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's a nice throwback to. Well, and I
Oh
like
yeah,
this one. The reason they're doing the black and white is it's taking place in the 20s.
yes,
So yeah, I actually I know they've only really ever introduced the Spider-Man noir into the MCU. But there were a whole range of noir comics. That was like its own universe. Like it was almost like a ultimate kind of. It was like its own ultimate universe for a little while. In that it was the entire Marvel universe, or I guess it would be more reminiscent to 1602, which was another.
okay,
That was like a series of miniseries, which is what the noirs were as well, that all take place in a Marvel universe set in 1602 rather than the modern day. And that's what they did with Noir, and it's all set in it's the Marvel universe in an alternate universe where the heroes and villains start showing up in the 20s rather than the 60s or the 70s.
yeah.
And there were some really good ones. Spider-Man was very good. That was like the thing that kicked it all off. But there was a Wolverine, actually they called it Logan Noir, cuz he was like a
Ah,
private detective and everything.
okay,
There was an Iron Man Noir, which was written by Scott Snyder, who's the current DC, kind of the head editor leading the Absolute comics for DC, and just killing it. They're not my cup of tea, but I got to give credit where it's due. I mean, people are eating that stuff up. They love it. Um, but I have enjoyed Scott Snyder's work before. Like I enjoyed his run on Batman during the New 52. That was one of my favorite runs on Batman. Um, but he did Iron Man Noir for Marvel, and it was great. It was just this really, especially because it's got a steampunk vibe to it. Because you got Tony Stark becoming Iron Man without microchips and stuff like that. It's very cool story. I would have loved to seen them expand that even more, but I mean, it just kind of, the directives changed at Marvel, and I don't know if the sales dipped and it just wasn't worth doing anymore. But they just like it. Not that it ever officially ended; they just never did anymore. Because, as I said, it wasn't like an ongoing thing. It was like they would do a 6-issue series here, a 6-issue series here, there,
Yeah.
that were all tied together. So, but I would love to see them bring that back.
Yeah, they could have. I mean,
And maybe the popularity, if this is popular, maybe the
they might.
comics will.
They probably could have threw. I know it's not from the same thing, but he would have fit kind of fine. But like Joe Fixit would have been in that same kind of era. That Hulk that's like this
Yeah,
gangster
yeah,
almost. I mean,
yeah.
it's not the same thing, but I think you could throw him in there and he would probably fit fine. But no, I mean, what I
The in,
saw of it was great.
yeah, the interesting one that they never really touched on that I think would have been an interesting take on the character would have been Captain America, because he's so associated with World War II that they literally would have had to revamp his backstory to where he might have been fighting in World War One.
Yeah,
And that would have been an interesting take on the character. I think just that different time period.
I could see that. I could see that being fun.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah.
it's yeah, I've enjoyed it. Any other really good trailers?
No, because there weren't many trailers. I
Okay.
think now that I'm thinking back on it, I really think it was only. I really think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, Spider Man. There was Spider Man, the Supergirl trailer, and did I mention a third one? I can't.
And I think that's about it.
I want to say there was another. The other one was Disclosure Day by Steven Spielberg,
Okay.
which I've seen that trailer 2 or 3 times now, and I still have no clue what it's about, other than apparently aliens already live among us, and Disclosure Day is coming, where the whole world's going to realize, and there's apparently a government organ or some secret organization trying to prevent the world from knowing. And there's one part of the trailer that intrigues me, where you see a huge, massive spaceship coming through the clouds, and it's directed by Steven Spielberg, who also directed uh, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is also about a first contact with alien life. And I would like to think that maybe this is a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, in that maybe the aliens have returned for some reason. I don't know. It probably has nothing to do with that. Um, it the trailer looks interesting, and I will say, to give them credit, they don't give a lot away. Like, I really, other than the whole there are aliens among us, apparently, it doesn't give a lot away, which is good, because a lot of trailers give too much away.
Yeah. There's
um
a fine balance in the trailers.
yeah, I would say I'm intrigued to see it. I don't know that I'll go to the theater to see it. That's probably one I will catch on a streaming service, to be
Gotcha.
honest.
So one thing I wanted to talk about, I mean, I know you were talking about Spider-Man, and so you have, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, who else has played Spider-Man? Tom Holland
Tom
now.
Holland, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, and everybody has their favorites in those.
And of course, Nicholas Hammond from the
Yes,
70s. Yeah.
yes. So when you're looking at the Batman that people have played the Batman, and you've got Clooney, which is like no one's favorite. You've got Keaton, you have Val Kilmer, You have Robert Pattinson recently, Christian Bale. All of it, I think you could have fun arguing that. But as they were talking about the 89 Batman and they were rattling off the list of possibilities before they, settled on Keaton, they threw out names like Mel Gibson, and I think that would have been terrible. I think Kevin Costner would have been horrible. Charlie Sheen, I don't think they would have finished the movie. Ray Liotta or Liotta, however you say his last name,
Leota,
I
yeah.
think would have been terrible. But Pierce Brosnan is one of the ones where I was like, ooh, man, that might have been fun to watch.
Uh, it might have been. Are you talking about for the '89 movie
Yeah,
before
for the
Keaton?
89.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say Mel Gibson got thrown out for every comic book related
Yeah,
character because I
yeah.
remember, remember in Wizard magazine they used to have, they would do a, like, here's our dream cast for the X-Men movie or
Oh
this
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
He was always Wolverine. He was always, yeah, and then like you said, Batman. Uh, I don't know. I'll be honest. I could see him doing an okay Batman. I think he could have done it. Um, but of course, looking back on it in hindsight, Keaton was the perfect
Oh no,
choice. I
Keaton
mean,
was the
he
great
he
choice.
was just
I'm
perfect.
so happy.
Yeah, because I mean, he was. And there are funny bits in the movie. I really got to laugh. I mean, I probably laughed back in the day, but I really laughed this time when he and Vicky Vale escape from the museum and they're being chased by the Joker's goons, and the Batmobile gets blocked in so they have to get out and run for it. And they go down an alley and he asks her, "How much do you weigh?" And she's like, "I don't know, 108." And he has to do a setting on his grapple gun to shoot
Yeah,
up there, but they get stuck halfway through and he has to let her go the rest of the way, which leads into a fight. I love that there's that little bit of humor in there, just showing. I mean, we can't. I mean, that was during starting with the Dark Knight Returns and comic books. This was the time where we're like, oh, we're getting back to the grim and gritty Batman. But I think people had forgotten through making grim and gritty that Batman, because he has a really dry sense of humor, can be written as a really funny character. Sometimes he can be funny, and I just thought it was a great line when he finally catches back up to Vicky Vale, uh, and he's like, "You weigh a little more than 108 pounds."
yeah.
And that was just his delivery was perfect. It was just great. And that movie, it just reignited my love for that movie. Not that I guess it had ever not, I'd never not loved the movie. It's just seeing it on the big screen was just a different thing. And with the 40th anniversary coming up in 3 years, Lord willing, we're all going to be healthy and ready to go. And I hope they do something big
I do too.
for the 40th anniversary. I would love for them to give it the Jaws treatment, like when we went to see the 50th anniversary. I don't want to wait till the 50th anniversary, but
No, I
I
don't
would
either.
love for them
40 would be
to,
fun.
at the 40th anniversary, um, do like a big re-release in theaters and
Yeah,
do, cups and buckets and all kinds of stuff.
yeah. I I I never really thought about it then, because I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I knew it, but I don't think that I really thought too deep about it. But Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent, we never get to see the change later on. I kind of hate that because I think that would have been really fun to see in
It's
the
funny you
movies.
mention that. Hang on one second.
Sure.
Uh, let's see. Yeah. A few years ago, DC did what I consider some of the best comics they've ever done when they released Superman 78 and Batman 89, which were continuations of the stories. And
Okay.
if you'll look at the back of the slipcase, if you're watching
Oh
this on
yeah,
YouTube,
there it is.
Harvey Dent does become Two-Face
That's
in the
awesome.
comics. And it's
That's
Billy
awesome.
D. Williams likeness, and it is amazing. Actually, the Superman ones are great too, because Brainiac does actually become a villain which is what they had wanted to do for Superman 3. But yeah, these are some amazing. Look at the back because they do introduce Robin.
Yeah. I mean, I know
Uh,
that that was in the original script before Burton really got a hold of it and kind of changed a lot of the things. Robin was supposed to be in there, and thank goodness. As much as I love Reitman, I'm glad he didn't get a hold of it because he wanted it to be um, Bill Murray as Batman and Eddie Murphy as Robin.
oh wow,
And
yeah,
I just have a hard time even. I mean, it would be a great skit on SNL, but I just don't know as a whole movie if I would have been able to take that serious at all.
no, no.
Um,
Well, I mean, essentially, if you're just trying to play it for a joke, I mean,
yes, and
that's
so
what
that
that.
yeah, that would have been leaning more into the camp. I know we're getting. I mean, semi close to the end of this, and I mean, I could talk about this all night. I don't know that we can not mention the music though, because
Oh
between
yeah,
between
yeah.
Danny Elfman and the Prince stuff, 89 Batman was crazy, man.
The that was another thing that really hit seeing it in the theater is Elfman's score is without a doubt one of the greatest movie scores of all time. I'm just going to say, in my opinion, it is one of the
Oh
greatest
no, he did for that
because
movie what John
that
Williams does.
yeah, that music exactly the way John Williams, like you hear a John Williams score, you immediately know what movie it comes from.
Yeah.
And I even commented to Laura after the movie, I'm like, it reminds me of how, like, when you hear John Williams' Superman score,
Yep.
I mean, you almost hear the word Superman in
Yeah.
your head. Same thing with Elfman's Batman. It is, and we actually rewatched the car chase scene from the Batman, the Robert Pattinson movie from a few
Yes.
years ago, which I'm gonna say a controversial thing that is might get us some hateful comments.
It
I
would at
think
least
that's
be a comment.
yeah, as long as we get a comment, that's my second favorite Batman movie. I'm just gonna say it.
You love it because he's such a detective, right?
Not only that, the movie, just the quality of the movie is so good. Pattinson did a great job playing a young Batman. It's essentially Batman year two. He even mentions this is his second year doing this. That's what I liked about Keaton and his version of Batman, in that because there it's kind of Batman year one. He's still new at this, and there are times in the movie Keaton as Batman makes mistakes. He gets trapped. You know, uh, he had to, when he fell in and was trying to fight the guys, like trying to get up into the cathedral tower at the
Yep.
top. Like he's not the perfect Batman that has been portrayed in a lot of places, and that's what I really liked about um, the Batman was Pattinson played a Batman that was still learning how to be Batman, and it is great, but it's more than that. That the score to that is also great, which owes heavily to Elfman. I mean, during that car chase, there are just parts of it. I'm like, I think they just lifted Elfman's score because there's that scene in Batman '89 after when he's taking Vicky Vale to the Batcave for the first time to give her the the formulas and everything that he's figured out. There's that long scene where the Batmobile's driving outside of Gotham City through the forest, heading to the Batcave, and that score is fantastic. It just feels exciting, and very much the chase scene in the Batman very much like that. It's an exciting car chase. It's a great car chase in and of itself. The music just makes it better and takes it to that next level. The car is amazing. I love the '89 Batmobile, but the sound that the Batmobile and the Batman makes, it just sounds like an animal. It literally sounds like it's a monster. And it was just great. And that movie, I know a lot of people hate on that movie. I don't know why. It is a well-made movie. It's a detective story. It's a great story. I love that movie, and
Yeah,
I would
it's
coming out of this, 89 Batman is still my favorite Batman movie,
yes.
but The Batman is without a doubt my second favorite Batman movie.
Yeah,
And I love
I
the way that the Matt Reeves shot it like it was an old 70s. Like he's filming it with techniques that are very reminiscent of movies from the 70s,
yeah,
and I
I
love
liked it
that.
was almost Sherlock-like in
Yeah.
the way that
Yeah.
he would see things and you could kind of see his mind working
Yeah.
and trying to figure out the different parts of what happened in the scene. And I enjoyed that part of it. I honestly wouldn't be upset if they were to somehow be able to reenact that Batman comic when he is able to hang out with Sherlock for a little bit.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
they'll never do that. It'd be cool if they could, but that's just not in the works. Um,
I've got a Joker comic that I picked up recently from Selfish when I was doing my trade with them. Uh, they had some of the Joker had his own ongoing series for a brief bit in the late 70s, mid to late 70s, and I think it's only 9 or 10 issues before it got canceled, and so I've been working on putting that one together. But there's an issue of that with a cover that as soon as I saw it, I was like, I gotta show this to Chuck. He'll get a kick. But we'll do it. Let's do another episode. We might do a deep dive
yeah,
into.
okay,
Uh, Maybe we'll do an episode where we should do Sherlock Holmes appearances outside of novels, like whether that's
yeah,
movies, maybe not outside of novels. Maybe we should do Sherlock Holmes outside of Conan Doyle
sure, yeah,
because there's lots of Sherlock Holmes media, like whether movies, other books. Stephen King he wrote a in his Nightmares and Dreamscapes collection. He wrote what I consider one of the best non Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes stories.
yeah. I'm
And
shocked that he never made it into Doctor Who though. That's just the one. It's like, how did he never show up in Doctor Who?
it is weird. And Tom Baker, there was a period there during the Tom Baker run where he kind of started dressing like Sherlock
Well, I
Holmes.
know the oh my goodness, it's the one where they're like the giant rats and they're in the theater, and I can't remember the title of the 5 or 6 part series of that. Um, but he's very Sherlock like in that. And he even
Yeah,
puts on the hat at one point in the
yeah,
show.
yeah.
And so
I want to say he wore the Deerstalker cap
yeah,
in a couple of for
I guess
because
that's
there
as
were a
close as we'll
few
get.
years there and during the Baker era where they started leaning kind of into horror.
A little bit,
Like
yeah.
there's some more horror episodes, and those are some of the greatest episodes of the Tom Baker era. But apparently, the BBC got cold feet and told them knock it off.
Yeah.
I guess they
I
were
think
getting
he was up for
complaints from
anything.
parents, but
Ah,
but I do remember that period where during the Tom Baker era where I was wondering if they were trying to turn him into Sherlock Holmes because
it almost
I'm
seemed
pretty
like
sure
it.
he wore that deerstalker cap for a little while.
Yeah.
They still had the scarf, the amazing scarf.
I need that. I mean, I don't know that I would need the whole trench coat and everything else, but I
Oh,
do want that
you need
scarf
the
at some
whole
point.
outfit. You need the red velvet coat. You remember when he wore the red? I
Yeah,
don't know if it was velvet, but he had the
probably.
kind of dark burgundy long
Yeah.
coat and all that. Yeah, and I will say that if you ever want jelly babies, you can buy them at Publix in the British
I
food
do buy
section.
those. Yeah, I do
They're
buy those.
okay. They're not what I wanted them to be, but they're okay.
There's just a part of me that won't say they suck because of Doctor
Yeah,
Who,
but
but
Doctor Who, I know, but
I do like them. I don't like them as much as I do some of the gummy bears and stuff.
yeah,
I eat them.
yeah, yeah.
I get them so rarely.
Well, the same company that makes those jelly babies, at least the ones they sell here that are imported here, they also make wine gummies that
Okay.
are great. They don't have any alcohol in them, but they are supposed to taste like gin or red wine or stuff, and they kind of do. Like the gin one is
Hmm.
actually really. It's like having a candy that tastes like a gin and tonic.
That's well, I mean, I'd rather just have the gin and tonic, but okay,
No,
you know,
well, I could have both.
do both, do both. So I guess to wrap this up, one thing I wanted to talk about. I know that you said that the Joker didn't really take over the movie, at
Hmm.
least in the '89 Batman. But I really feel like he took over the merchandise though, because there was Joker makeup, there was the big giant Joker poster that was everywhere of him sitting on
Yeah,
the beach.
uh,
His
I
merchandise was wild.
I would still say that there was a pretty even mix between Batman merchandise and Joker merchandise because I love the Joker, but I wanted the Batman stuff, and I was able to buy a ton of Batman stuff because there were lots of posters. I would love to get a copy of the poster of Keaton just standing beside the Batmobile. It was kind
Yep.
of everywhere. I actually have, you have the metal TV trays behind you, like Dukes of
Yep.
Hazzard. I have one with Batman, and it's that picture of Keaton standing
Yeah.
beside the Batmobile. And I I would love they did I had the poster hanging in my room at the time of that. I did have a Joker poster. I had the poster where it's the poster of him when he takes over the TV and he's doing Joker brand products.
That's so cool
And when
though.
he's sitting on the beach,
The
it
sitting
looks
on the
like he's
beach
sitting
is
on the beach.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that poster. Um, but I still remember I had a ton of Batman T-shirts with
Oh,
different
those are everywhere.
Batman images. Yeah, not just the symbol, but like with actual Batman on them. There were some great
Yeah.
ones. I wish I had held on to those. But
Can't keep it all, but
I know,
it's
but
try
if I
to.
could go back in time, I'd sure try.
I mean, we would definitely try. So that's for certain. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want to knock out, or you think we should wrap this thing up, man?
I think we can wrap it up. I had a great time. Unfortunately, with the rewind cinema, a lot of times, um, we like this one. I didn't even know it was happening. I was listening to another podcast that I listened to, and one of the podcasters said that they were going to take their daughter to see Batman at the theater, and I was like, wait, really? So I went and looked it up, and sure enough, they were playing. So we decided to go, but I wouldn't even have been aware of it. I need to stay on top of that more because they it is a lot of fun to go see movies we watched as kids or as
Oh
younger
yeah,
adults to see them again on the big screen. Like they are showing Raiders of the Lost Ark later this summer, and I would love to go see that on the big screen again.
yeah. I wouldn't mind going to see that myself.
Yeah, maybe we'll get together. Yeah, maybe we should do a podcast from within the theater. We could just be whispering through the movie. I
Yeah,
love
we
this
might
part.
get in huge trouble for that, but we could
No,
probably do
I'm
it
joking. Yeah, I'm joking. We could do an after show, but
after for
um,
certain. Yeah,
although Batman is still at the theater, it's a weird schedule. They show it on Saturdays and Sundays, and then they'll show it the following Wednesday. So you still have a chance to go see Batman at the Grand here
yeah.
in Winston on this coming Wednesday at 7. I think it's at 7 p.m.
I mean, if I'm off, I might have to go do that because I mean, that's one that I watch a lot though. Grant will come in the room like, "Oh my god, you're watching that stupid thing again." I'm like, yeah, this movie's great. Um,
It is great.
but
It's
I'm bad. I love them all. I love
Oh,
the one with Arnold
I'm not saying
Schwarzenegger in it.
I don't hate any of them. Even Batman and Robin,
I love it.
the worst of the worst. I actually have a I really have an affinity for that. And Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze that's awesome. How can you hate that? How
I
can you
love
hate
that
that? It
movie.
is
I
just
don't
so
care.
funny. The worst thing I hated about it was Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. That didn't do it for me. She wasn't. I just argue she wasn't very good at it. But I mean, I don't even think you needed Poison Ivy. They should have just used Mister Freeze as the villain.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, even when they did that with the Riddler and Two Face, it almost seemed like a little too much. It's almost like the Two Face didn't get enough
Well, Tommy
screen
Lee
time.
Jones apparently read the wrong script because he thought he was playing the Joker. Apparently,
Yeah, yeah.
because Two Face does not go around cackling all the time. I mean, he literally thought. I mean, if you were to watch that movie, he really comes across as the Joker with a coin gimmick, you
Yeah.
know, and that's disappointing. Now, I will say Jim Carrey's Riddler is spot on, man. That is amazing. I love, again, I don't know why, after the success of Batman, which only had one villain, the Joker, every movie after that, they feel like they've got to squeeze two villains in.
I probably because that's probably like studio pressure to get
I'm sure
more people,
toys, yeah, and toys,
toys, and more people in,
yeah.
more characters. Because I mean,
I will say the Catwoman in Batman Returns, Catwoman and Penguin play off one another very well. That one actually kind of worked.
yeah,
And that's because the Penguin, in that he's not like an action hero villain who's fighting Batman, going toe to toe with Batman. Yeah, I like the that was, I think, one of the first times they took the angle of, Max Shrek, who was also another, I guess you could count as a villain in that, but the idea of just using the Penguin for a political front, and that was kind of the beginning of the Penguin more as a either a political character who becomes, mayor of Gotham, even though he's running a criminal empire. And then I will say that again, another great thing about the Batman is Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and he plays him great as a crime lord.
yeah. I think it's. I'm pretty sure it's the TV show. But it was the Batman, and I think the Riddler there. He was like part of the police
Oh,
department.
you're thinking Gotham. That was
Gotham.
Gotham.
I
Yeah.
loved that Riddler. He was
Yeah,
great.
that Riddler was also really good because he had worked for the police department. He
Yeah.
was he was like a crime scene
Yeah,
investigator,
he was.
or
He's probably my favorite Riddler.
he was a police scientist. Yeah,
Yeah, he was great. And
he was
watching his
great. Actually,
transformation.
the Penguin in that show was really good too. I mean,
Yeah,
but that was the whole thing with that show. That's again, that seemed to be a trend that was going on for a while too, where we want to have a show set in the universe of this hero, but we don't want to have the hero in it.
yeah, yeah. That I mean, if there's anything disappointing, I would say that would be it. But
Yeah.
I did like the show. We finished. That's one of the few shows we
I
finished
did
out.
watch I watched the whole show. I thought the actor playing Gordon was really good.
Oh yeah, he was awesome.
Um, but I mean, I'm like, I don't. I guess in that universe, you could make the argument that the rise of supervillains, that's what made Batman become Batman, kind of, because Bruce Wayne's a regular character in the show, and you
Yeah,
kind of see him become. You do see him become Batman, although I will say that it's got one of the worst ending scenes ever, because when you finally see him as Batman, the costume was terrible.
yeah. That
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
awful. I'm like, you couldn't do better than that. Come on.
That seemed forced, and they probably were out of money.
Yeah, I think so. They were just trying to end it. They were just trying to end it.
Yeah, but at least they didn't push it on for 12 more seasons and make it horrible. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, listen, man, I hope you have a great week. I've got a lot of things going this week, some decisions to make and things like that. But gonna round out this last week of school, knock some things out there, and then head on into summer and then figure out what's going to go on from there. But I know we both have some plans and some things that we're wanting to do with the channel. But I'm sure we'll keep on cranking out
Yep.
the podcast because I mean, I think we've been doing it since like late February. So
Yep.
we're about halfway into the first season, I guess, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love doing the podcast. Like I said, I still want to do more YouTube content. That I've got some things that we've discussed in past episodes that are in the works. I will say there is some more Batman '89 content on the way.
That's good.
I have quite a few things that I think are going to be a lot of fun. I also have some comic book content coming up. I had mentioned to you there's a series that I'm reading from Skybound right now, based on the Creep Show horror comics,
Yeah.
based on the Creep Show movies and TV show from Shudder, um, called Super Creep Show, which is a nice. It's an interesting little merger of superheroes and horror that I've actually been really. I read the first issue. I've got two more issues I want to read before I do a review. And so far, intriguing, disturbing, intriguing. It's been a fun ride. So I've got that coming up too.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I read that Hawkman comic book the other day when I was waiting at the barbershop. And so I can't remember the name of the people, but some evil group of people killed Icarus at the beginning. And then Hawkman is in the middle of that. And it was like, man, these old 80s comics were great,
Oh
man.
yeah, man,
They're phenomenal.
they slap. They
Yeah,
slap.
it's good stuff. All right, man. Well, I hope everybody out there has a great week, and please drop some comments. We'd love to hear what you want to say and give us some
Yeah,
ideas
good
of
or
episodes you
bad.
want to see. Yeah, good and bad. We can take it. I deal with 10 and 11-year-olds all day. There's not anything you can say that's going to hurt my feelings. So, all right, man. Mack, take it easy, man. Hope you have a great week.
Have a great week. Bye bye.